All right, so here we're going to look at video 2, part 2 of my zombie couple sculptured figurine. Again, this is for my Ryan Does Everything series. Thanks for watching. In this video, I'm going to look at the build process, starting with the 3D model that I made in Clip Studio Paint. I'm using the Pro version, but in this video that you can see, I've captured everything that I thought I would need from the I had a trial version at this point. I hadn't purchased the software, so I mentioned this in an earlier video. I'll put the link in that in the card on how to use the models and add pre-created models from other people into your Clip Studio Paint Pro projects. Anyway, so what I'm doing here is I'm just showing some of the, just recording the whole model from every possible angle. And I've got the male, the bride, and the groom on separate layers so that I can move them independently, which ended up being a problem, and I'll show you why in a little bit, but that's what I'm doing here. Is I'm just going all the way around from every angle that I could possibly think of. So the one thing that I just said that I'd show you, I have the models on two different layers. So this layer has the groom in his pose. This one has the bride in her pose, and I've changed the colors just so I could manipulate and know which one I was selecting. That was great, except for, I'll show you the reason that didn't quite work out well. So I was using, like I said, two separate layers, and when you do that, whenever you manipulate one layer, it's independent of the other layer, and so you'd have to go to the other layer, change either the camera or the position or whatever, and since it's on a separate layer, the position of the object, the position of the model using these tools, and the camera are pretty much the same. I mean, if you manipulate the camera, that's fine, but if you also manipulate the model, it looks like you're just doing the same thing because it's the only thing on that layer. So let me show you what I did just recently after I got the Pro version, and after I took all my video screenshots and everything. I loaded both models onto one layer so that I can just select, and if I select this, say the groom here, and manipulate the model, then I'm moving it just like I showed you that happened before. When it's on separate layers. But if you move the camera, then you're moving the camera around both models simultaneously, so you don't have to move or adjust them independently. Had I known that when I had the trial version, it would have been really awesome. I could have got a whole lot better shots, and instead of having them independently and then having to layer them in Photoshop, then, you know, I could have saved myself some time. But anyway, so you'll put in your models if you're going to use Clip Studio. It's great for reference, setting it up. I may eventually get those posable models. I'll put a link, the Body Coon models. They're only 7 inches tall, which is a little small for my tastes. Anyway, that way I would have a physical representation that I could use as a reference for my sculpting or drawing or whatever, and then I could, you know, I wouldn't have to rely on the software and wait for it. So that is one trick that I learned, just putting both models on the same layer. The only problem with that is you don't get the luxury of having, the opposite color or a different color, because that's a layer effect. So the groom here is pink, the bride is the blue color. And there may be a way to link the models together, or the layers together, and have them move at the same time, but I haven't found that to be the case. So separate layers mean the camera moves separately per layer. So that's just something to keep note of in Clip Studio. Okay, so one other thing to remember: if you don't have the full version, you only have the trial, and you build a model, and you need to make sure that you change, or you screen capture or write down or something to remember all of the sizes of the body parts of your model if you're going to use Clip Studio, because once you close that file, since you can't save it or export it, you're going to lose all that information. So I made sure to do that so that when I was back in the program, once I hadn't planned on buying it, but I ended up doing that. Anyway, so once I was back in, I was able to use those settings and recreate the body parts, or not the body parts, the model body types, and also then I was able to save my poses. So then the best part was, after I had created the models and taken all the screenshots, I was able to use those screenshots to create these printouts that I was able to use for creating or building up the wireframes and the model, and you'll see that in the next video. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Go ahead and give it a thumbs up if you did. Subscribe for the next video and to keep up with everything I'm doing. Thank you for watching, and go out and amaze yourself and learn something new. See ya.